The two latest headlines out of Detroit have fans both fired up and frustrated. On one hand, a painful loss to the Chiefs exposed some serious issues on the field and raised questions about the offense's play calling. On the other, things got heated off the field too, with a tense back and forth between a veteran Lion and a former NFL QB, all sparked by Brian Branch's controversial move that might cost the defense big time. There's tension, fan backlash, and even some sharp words flying around. And through it all, Detroit is trying to hold it together. Let's start with the news that hit hardest. That tough loss. Man, things got heated in Detroit after the Lions took one on the chin from the Kansas City Chiefs, dropping a 30-17 heartbreaker and picking up their second loss of the 2025 season. What looked like a primetime slugfest quickly turned into a frustrating night filled with penalties, missed chances, and a whole lot of Mahomes magic. It all started with Detroit seemingly cashing in on their opening drive. Goff caught a 1-yard TD pass from David Montgomery on a trick play that had everyone fired up, until the Zebras pulled the plug. They flagged Goff for illegal motion, saying he didn't get set before the snap. Instead of 7, Detroit had to settle for a field goal. That moment kinda set the tone. Kansas City answered right back with a touchdown, but Detroit didn't fold. Goff hit Jameson Williams for a score to take a 10-6 lead, and it felt like the Lions were ready to trade haymakers with the defending champs. But just before halftime, they sputtered. A quick 3-and-out gave Mahomes just enough time to work his late-half magic, which of course he did, running it in himself to give the Chiefs a 13-10 lead at the break. Coming out of halftime, the Chiefs kept the pressure on, marching down for another touchdown and stretching the lead to 10. Detroit fought back, though. Goff found Laporta in the end zone to cut it to 20-17, and there was a glimmer of hope. But Mahomes answered again, this time threading the needle to Hollywood Brown on a slick 3-yard dart, finishing off a 9-play, 69-yard drive that felt like a dagger. Toss in a late field goal, and the Lions just couldn't climb out of the hole. The fan base? Yeah, they're not happy. Offensive coordinator John Morton caught serious heat after the game. The Lions came in leading the league in scoring, but fans were scratching their heads wondering why they weren't testing KC's defense deep or being more aggressive when it mattered most. Meanwhile, the defense was clearly banged up, with a patchwork secondary featuring Amik Robertson, Rock Ya-Sin, and Arthur Mollett, plus injured starters Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch gutting it out. Mahomes, on the other hand, looked like he was back in MVP form. 4 total touchdowns, carving up a wounded defense and keeping Detroit chasing all night. Safe to say, this one stung. Lions fans were loud and clear. They're not panicking, but they sure aren't thrilled with how this one played out, especially with how conservative and uneven things looked from the sideline. But if you thought that was intense, the next story just dropped, and it's turning up the heat even more in Detroit. Things are getting spicy in Detroit, and this time it's not just about the scoreboard. It's about shots being fired on and off the field. Veteran defensive lineman DJ Reader is not here for Robert Griffin III's take on the Brian Branch situation, and he let the former QB know it straight up. RG3 stirred the pot with a fiery social media post, claiming Brian Branch started a fight, threw a punch at Juju Smith-Schuster, and should be suspended. His words, "There is no place in sports for that." DJ Reader wasn't having it. He clapped back with a smooth but pointed line, "The retirement done turned you into something different." Translation? Bro, you played the game. You should get why things happen out there. So here's what went down. Branch, one of the Lions' most explosive young defenders, open hand slapped Juju during the game, a move that's now got him under league scrutiny and possibly staring down a fine or suspension. Word is, Branch was heated over a block in the back by Juju that didn't get flagged, and the frustration boiled over. Not ideal, but definitely not unheard of in a game that was already loaded with physicality and tension. Juju, for his part, took the high road in the post-game presser. He said he expected to shake Branch's hand afterward and didn't see the hit coming. He's a great player, right? He'll learn from his mistakes. And at the end of the day, we won. That's all that matters, Juju said, keeping things classy after catching a slap and a W. Mahomes chimed in too, brushing off the heat as part of the grind. "You're playing football, you're being chippy," he said. "We're gonna match that mentality every time. Coach Reed brings it daily, and so do we." Now, while Detroit fans love Branch's edge and aggression, this kind of incident could cost the Lions big time. With a secondary that's already held together by duct tape and adrenaline, losing Branch even for a game would be a serious blow. He's been one of the few constants in a banged-up back end. Kirby Joseph is still nursing a nagging knee issue and has been in and out of games. When he sat, Thomas Harper stepped in and held his own, but the depth is razor-thin right now. Joseph says it's all mental and he's pushing to play, but the risk of re-aggravation is real. Detroit's walking a tightrope, emotionally and physically. The offense needs answers, and the defense can't afford to lose guys like Branch. If you're a Lions fan, hit subscribe so you don't miss a thing.